brought it from downstairs from the yoga box.
Oh, I see what you mean, right.
50.
I think there's supposed to be a Gita reading today.
Yes. Swamiji set it up, so he must be doing it.
Yeah, you must be coming up soon.
Yes, very soon, very soon.
It was now 10 o'clock.
Yes. You want to come?
Yeah,
Let's go, because I have to write down $50 somewhere. I don't know where I put the notes.
Yes, I am here. How are you?
I'm a lot better. I've had a very bad, not a flu, but cold, you know. And it was really bad, but anyway, I feel a lot better.
Oh, thank God. I was about to call you today if you didn't come.
Oh, well, right. Look, anyway, so no, look, I'm really pleased to be here. I'm just going to make a donation.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
Namaskar. Welcome.
But I have to write it before I forget.
Yeah, I realise you've got to do that.
Yeah, now I'll do my bit.
And then what you do in my book.
Yes, give me 1 minute. Done.
This is not even really
श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि
भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीं नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णा प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुदीभोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशव। पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं। लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Welcome to the study of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying the 13th chapter, Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, the differentiation of the knower and the known. The known is the external world and the knower is the divine, Ishvara and Jagat. Ishvara is the knower and the Jagat is the known. So this is the subject matter of this chapter, and we are almost towards the concluding part of the chapter. So in the 26th verse, Sri Krishna said, whatever there is born, whatever is born, whether it is moving or unmoving, it has come into being due to the union of the Kshetra, that is the body, and the Kshetrajna, the spirit, that is the divine. Whatever is there, whether it is so-called sentient or insentient, that is why we have in Hindu scriptures mention about rocks becoming alive, coming to life. Ahalya was the one who was released by Sri Rama. She had become a rock, but Sri Rama redeemed her. So that is to say that anything that is existing in this universe is or can ultimately become one with the divine. That is the idea. And the knower of everything, the divine, is in and through all of these. So we are all carrying this body. Last time I mentioned. How many of us are aware that we are carrying the body? Very few of us are aware that we are really carrying the body. Similarly, we are not aware that the divine is within ourselves, let alone others. So that is why it's a Kshetrajna, the knower is within every being, within all the living and non-living also. This is a great message that Vedanta gives, that there is no place or no object where God is not. There is no place or no object where God is not. This has to be very well understood. That is why when we get this idea or when we get this concept very clearly in our mind, what happens is then our reverence to all beings will increase. And the reverence to one's own self, the ones holding this body or wearing this body, and also the reverence towards everybody else becomes much attenuated. That's why he says here, Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavara jangamam. He makes it very, very clear. That which is moving and the unmoving. That which is moving and unmoving. Sthavara Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga. It is manifesting there because of this mixture of the Kshetra and the Kshetrajna. That means the field and the knower of the field. The world, which is nothing but emanation from Prakriti, which again Prakriti itself is an emanate from Brahman itself, or which is a manifestation of Brahman itself. So in Vedanta we have a term, Chit Jada Granthi. Granthi means a knot. Granthi means a knot. So we are a combination of consciousness and inert matter. When there is no life, when there is no consciousness in this body becomes an inert matter, just another piece of wood, so to say, for all practical purposes. So Chit Jada Granthi. So we should try to focus on the chit aspect, the conscious aspect of every being, more so within our own selves. So the Bhagavad Gita exhorts us to go back to one's roots and realize that one is divine, that the divinity is within every one of us. That has to be done, and our effort lifelong should be towards this only. Yes, we have to deal with this world, we will have to conduct our activities in this world and all of that, but at the back of our mind, if we can keep this thought very firm and stable, that God is behind me, God is behind everything, even in those who give us trouble, even behind them there is the divine. He is there behind the murderer, and he is there behind the saint as well. So ideally there is no saint or sinner. In the next two verses, 27th and 28, the essence of Gita is hidden according to Swami Vivekananda. In one of his lectures, the mission of Vedanta, actually it was an interview that Swamiji gave when he was in Madras. There he talks about this, and he says that these verses 27 and 28 of the Gita can be taken as the essence of the teachings of Sri Krishna. What is it? In the 27th verse, Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyat svavinashyantam yah pashyati sapashyati. Sarveshu bhuteshu samam tishtantam parameshwaram. Sarveshu bhuteshu, in all beings, one sees alike samam tishtantam. That same divine is tishtantam, means it is abiding, it is sitting or residing. All these synonyms are used for that. So tishtantam parameshwaram, the supreme Lord. God is not somebody who is out there in cloud 9 according to Vedanta. It's very clear. God is here. Ihaiva. Here itself, where you are seated, there is the divine. Whether you are seated here or anywhere for that matter, He is there. So now it talks about Parameshvara, that means the Supreme Lord. He really sees, who perceives the Supreme Lord alike in everything. Alike means in this, that is the pervasive being is everywhere. That is the idea. So alike in everything, as the imperishable substance abiding amidst perishing phenomena. So there is something that is imperishable behind all that is perishing. See, this Sri Ramakrishna gives this example. The sun is shining equally everywhere, but he reflects better in a clean mirror. In a clean mirror, you see the reflection far better. When there is rain, there are water puddles, and then you see, if it is clear water, then you see the reflection much clearer, and if it is muddy water, then you don't see it that well reflected, but it is nevertheless available there, it is there. So for the sun, there is no partiality. It does not say that you are dirty and therefore I don't reflect in you. No, it does not say that. It is there, but it is for individuals to cleanse their own mirror of the mind. That is the idea. It says in the Vinashyatsu. Vinashyatsu means Nashvara. That is in the frittering things, in the perishing. In the Vinashyatsu means in the perishable, and in the Vinashyatsu Avinashyatsu, that which is that cannot be perishable, as the imperishable substance. That is the idea that he says. In the imperishable substance, Yaha Pashyati, those who know this truth, Sa Pashyati, realize its fullness. Fullness, they realize it in totality. There is no fraction over there. There is no division over there. There is no partiality over there. God is there in everyone. In earlier verses we have read in the Bhagavad Gita, Sutre Manigana Iva. I am there present in all beings as the underlying thread where all the pearls are woven together or brought together. So we need to create this, ideally, a Ram Rajya which Mahatma Gandhi wanted, is a Rajya where is a nation, or it's a world where there is freedom, no doubt, but there is freedom and then equality and sacredness of human personality. That is most important. Freedom can be had, equality also can be had, but this sacredness, sanctity of all beings, that I love you or I respect you. For what reason? Not because that you have got a beautiful body or a beautiful intellect. No, I love you because the same divine is present in you. That is the sacredness of human personality. The sanctity has to be maintained. In our human love, we don't maintain sanctity. That is why all our problems come. Because there is no respect to each other as spiritual beings, let alone divine. As spiritual beings, we don't respect. We respect each other as human beings. When that human being is elevated, human love is elevated to the divine level by placing underneath this idea of sanctity, that there is sacredness in every being, in every manifestation, that the self is manifest in everywhere, every place. So this can only happen when there is samatva and samadarship. These two words we get in Sanskrit. Samatva means sameness, and samadarshitva, that is seeing the unifying factor, samadarshitva, seeing the unifying factor in all beings. The common unifying factor between you and me is that you are a manifestation of the divine. I am also a manifestation of the divine. That is the common point in all of us. That must be understood. That's why Swami Vivekananda very boldly said, man is traveling from truth to truth, from a truth that is lower to a truth that is higher. Extraordinary words. If we ponder over that, if we meditate upon these words, great strength will be received by us. We are all traveling not from error to truth. Swamiji makes it very clear. We are not, because I have made a mistake, so I need to correct myself. No, that is not true. I have made a mistake. Swamiji very clearly says, I am glad that I made mistakes. I am glad. Who can say so daringly? I am glad that I made mistakes, because that has showed me that there is something greater for me to achieve. So, do not just harp over those mistakes. Do not just worry over those mistakes. Leave it aside. This is probably that was needed for me to realize that there is something better than what I have done or I have thought over. So we are traveling from a truth that is lower to a truth that is higher. This will come only when we have this concept that's of samadarshitva, that ultimately everything is divine. In the criminal also there is the divine, in the good also. But for that matter we should not condone the criminal. We should not condone the criminal. We should say, all right, he has done a mistake or she has done a mistake. She will have to pay for all of that. But I will not look down upon that person because of that. I need not be very close to that person, but I need not look down upon that person because the divine is there. Then only this will happen. So he says in the next verse, Sri Krishna is talking about what happens to a person when this unity is realized. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishwaram na hinastyatmanatmanam tato yati param gatim. For he who perceives the Lord's presence alike everywhere no longer works against his own spiritual well-being by mistaking the ego for the true spiritual self as men in ignorance do. He therefore attains to the supreme goal. Samam pashyanti. He sees the similarity. We can even say similarity or sameness, alikeness. So samam pashyanti, sam avasthitam, samyak avasthita, that the Lord is abiding. One sees everything alike because of the abiding, constantly abiding reality. Ishvara is there in everyone. Ishvaram pashyan, says the commentator. Ishvaram parameshvaram pashyan. He realizes that every injury, nahinasti atmana atmanam, every injury that one willfully does to another is an injury to one's own self. The self is the same in me as in the others. Also the divine is the same as it is in me, as it is in the others also. So to do this, one must come out of this rat hole of our experience or of our feeling that I am the body, that I have this kind of a very well-trained mind or ill-trained mind, all of that. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the senses. is the conclusion of the Advaitic sages. So, na hinasti atmana atmanam. So, if I am injuring somebody, I am committing the injury to myself. This is something very important that we need to understand. So, we need Sri Ramakrishna. How to do it? Sri Ramakrishna used to say that you need to apply the collyrium of knowledge. Collyrium is kajal, kajal in that black thing which women put. Even boys also used to in olden days. They put the collyrium. Apparently, that collyrium is used to protect the eye and maintain good eyesight. It is scientifically proven. So Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Radha, Sri Krishna's partner, used to say that friends, paint your eyes with the collyrium of love and you will see him everywhere. I have painted my eyes with the collyrium of love, therefore I see Sri Krishna everywhere. So that is something which in the Bhakti Shastra, in the Bhakti scriptures, talks about. If you can paint your eyes with the love of God, if I become totally dedicated to the divine, start loving God. See, this is something which is so important in our lives. Sri Ramakrishna says very clearly, people shed jug full of tears for their family, for their wives, for their husbands, for their children, grandchildren and all of that. How many indeed shed tears for God? That I have not seen God. If a mother does not see a child for even a few days, the mother becomes very restless because she sees the child as one's extension, one's very own, an extension of one's own self. Can we not apply the same to God? I have not thought about God. I have not taken the name of the Lord. I have not meditated upon God. And therefore, I feel a sense of longing, a sense of restlessness to see God or to think of God. How many of us do that? Very few, very few. Not many of us do that. So that's why he says here, Sri Ramakrishna says that if you can apply this collyrium of love, that means if you can see God within yourself, then you will be seeing God outside also. On the contrary, if you can see God outside also, then you can see God within yourself. And he uses a very particular word over here. Atmana atmanam na hinasti. He does not destroy or decry or does not complain about others. That is one thing. Na hinasti. One does not injure either oneself or the others. This is something very very important in this world today, where suicide has become a great menace, so to say. Addiction has become a great menace also in society. Why? Because everybody, those people who are addicted or those who are trying to take their own lives, they do not see themselves as a part of the divine, or that there is some higher element in themselves. If I do not think that God is within me, then what I will do is I will think of myself as the body, and if anything happens to the body, or if anything happens to the mind, that is, if somebody blames me or talks ill of me, then immediately I will think that that there is no use of me keeping this body anymore, and I will try to commit any kind of heinous sin called suicide. So he says, na hinasti atmana. One does not destroy oneself nor the others. So if we see somebody with the follies, you will keep on seeing the follies. When somebody was reading a scripture to Sri Ramakrishna, wherein a lot of a mention of sin comes there, Sri Ramakrishna immediately said, why do you harp over this concept of sin? And he said in colloquial Bengali that Jeshala papi papi bole she papi hoye jaye. A person who will think that he is a sinner will become a sinner, who will harp upon sin will verily become a sinner. Why should we think of ourselves as sinner? So Swami Vivekananda in his lecture, he says, we are not sinners. See, it is a sin to call oneself a sinner. It is a sin to call oneself a sinner. So strongly he says there. So we should not be, we have to see everyone with that same divine vision. We cannot see, as Christ said, do not try to see the mole in another's eye. First find out whether you have a mole in your own eye before you try to point out the mole in others' eyes. All are indeed divine. I am reminded of a story which we read in childhood of Akbar and Birbal. You know, Akbar was emperor of India, and then Birbal was his minister. And so once Akbar was playing with his grandchild, and Birbal was passing by, and then Akbar called at Birbal and said, Birbal, have you seen my grandchild? Don't you see how beautiful he is and how intelligent he is? I am sure there is no other beautiful child, nor more intelligent child than my grandchild. No, for every grandparent, their grandchild is the best, or even for a parent also. So Birbal said, sorry sir, there is somebody who is more beautiful and more intelligent than your child, your grandchild. Akbar became very perturbed and he said, who is that? Show that child to me, otherwise I will cut off your head. So Birbal said, all right, give me a couple of days time and I will show you the child. After a couple of days, Birbal said to Akbar, O king, let us go incognito. Let us mask ourselves and let us go to the city incognito. I will show you the most beautiful child. Yeah, all right, good. So they both were masked, and so they went into the city. As they went towards the outskirts of the city, there was the slum. And once they went there, they saw a child playing in the mud covering the whole body. There was a part of the child's ear was bitten by some rats or something and all that. So the face was looking very terrible. And the child was happily playing in the mud, filth. So Birbal told, O king, I told you that I will show you the most beautiful child in the kingdom. Here it is. So as soon as he showed that child, the king burst out and said, Are you kidding me? This is the most ugly, this is the ugliest child that I have ever come across. And he said this in a high-pitched voice. Immediately from inside the hut came in a lady, took hold of the child and said, Who are you to say that my child is the ugliest? My child is the most beautiful child. It's the most intelligent and most beautiful child. You are a liar. Get out of this place, otherwise I am going to hit you. So they both retreated. And then Birbal said, did you see this, O king? For every mother, her child is the most beautiful. So you cannot say that your grandchild alone is the most beautiful. For every mother, her child is the most beautiful and most adorable child. So similarly, the beauty in the eyes of the beholder, they say in English. So the divine is present in everyone. He is in the ugly, he is in the fair, he is in the dark, he is everywhere. There is no doubt about that. Even genetically, a few years ago I read about it. Even genetically, all of us, the whole of humanity has come from one source, isn't it? From Africa. So we all genetically have come from one source, but spiritually we have all come from the divine. That is the idea. So if one understands this, what happens? Tato param gatim yati. Then they will reach to the supreme goal of life. One develops this attitude, then one reaches to the supreme. So that is the superior way of a realized person also, where he sees the divine everywhere, and then after having that realization, he will come down to this world and then look at everything as filled with the divine. When Sri Ramakrishna had practiced his spiritual sadhana, after the end of his sadhana, he got a vision wherein a divine soul told Sri Ramakrishna, now that you have achieved to the highest realization, may you stay in the state of bhavamukha. It's a wonderful concept. What is that bhavamukha concept? That you can at will realize the divine, the supreme being, and at will you can also come down and be with the others. Yet you will see that divine manifest in everyone. So that is what happens to a realized soul. One sees the divine while living in this world, also sees everyone, everything and everybody as filled with the divine. Na hinasti atmana atmanam, does not hate anyone, does not criticize anyone. That is the idea. Tato yati param gatim. So this theme is continued in the next verse. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaha yah pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sapashyati. He is the real seer who perceives that Prakriti, that is one's body, mind born of Prakriti alone, is doing all works, and that the Atman, the true spiritual self, is the actionless witness. Sri Krishna is bringing the concept of the Sankhya philosophy over here. According to the Sankhya philosophy, there are two entities. One is the Purusha, the self, and the other is the Prakriti or nature. They both are different. Purusha is consciousness itself, it is sentient, whereas Prakriti is insentient. But because of the proximity of Purusha and Prakriti, then the Purusha sees the Prakriti, Drishtimatra sees the Prakriti, and therefore Prakriti starts acting. When he stops seeing the Prakriti becomes totally motionless, lifeless, so to say. This is the concept of Sankhya. Sankhya Purusha does not do anything, it does not get involved in anything, whereas Prakriti keeps on doing everything. So within ourselves also, we have these two things, Prakriti and Purusha. In every one of us, whether it is man or woman, we have both. That is to say, the witness of all of our actions. It is always there within us, only we don't recognize it, we don't give that much importance. It's called Sakshi Chetana. Sakshi, that means the witness state, the consciousness of the conscious self, which is the witness to all the actions that are going on. The mind and its accompanies, they keep on playing their music in this world. Whereas this person, the Purusha, is just present. By his mere presence, everything keeps on going on, keeps going on. That is the concept that Sri Krishna brings about in this verse. He is the real seer who perceives that Prakriti, one's body, mind, born of Prakriti alone, is doing all the works. So the question is asked, while performing all the actions, while dealing with the world, does not the realized soul or a jnani see the variety everywhere? Sees the variety, definitely. But he says, sees them as manifestation, different manifestation of that Prakriti. He sees them as that which comes and goes, does not have any permanent existence of its own. And Prakriti is finite in that sense, that it is there for this moment and the very next moment it is not there. So these are all processed. That means all these objects that we see in this world are all processed. How it is? So in the introduction to the Brahma Sutras, I think, Sri Shankaracharya talks about it. Naisargikoyam satyanrate mithuni kritya naisargikoyam loka vyavahara. We have processed the experience in this world. How? Putting the truth or putting the reality and the unreality, I should not call it unreality, as the temporary. Together, we put both of them together and we churn it. In processed food, we all know that it is a combination of a few things. If we have to keep something for a very long time, then we need to process it. There is a processing technique that one has to adapt. So in the same way, we have processed. This whole universe that we see is that which is processed. There is reality behind it, but the so-called temporary things that is made up of this world with the five senses, which is of course, which comes from the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. These three, combination of all these three things, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, they make a hodgepodge of it, or they make a juice out of this world. Together they make a juice. That is what we see in this world. So when we are in ignorance, we mix up the real with the unreality. Therefore, we don't really get a taste of the reality as it is. We don't get the real taste of the reality. When you have a mango juice, for example, if you just taste the mango only, the mango juice only, and not mix it with the sugar, that's a totally different taste. That's a totally different taste. But what we do to make it more palatable, to make it more attractive, so we add a little bit of sugar to it, we add a little bit of spices, etc. to it, to give it a punch. So therefore, but in reality, we really do not taste the mango as it is. Just to give a very common example. So in this world, our experience in this world is a mixture of both the good and the evil, both the reality and the unreality. But once you know that the reality is behind everything, and that whatever is temporary will ultimately perish, and that it does not have any real existence. Real existence, that is something which is important. We should not take it as unreal, but it does not have any real existence, lasting existence. Anything that comes to us, it is there with us for a few days or few months or few years, and then it ultimately goes away. So when we lose something, when we lose our near and dear ones, or when we lose money or possessions, etc., we become perturbed. Naturally, we get very upset, because that which we thought is going to be for us or with us forever has now gone. But that is not gone. That is still there. It is there within me. That same divine is within me. When Sri Ramakrishna passed away, Holy Mother Sharda Devi became very upset naturally, and according to Hindu tradition, a widow would remove all her ornaments and also remove the vermilion mark from one's forehead and all of that. So that's how the widows do, and also wear a very plain cloth without any border, etc. So when after Sri Ramakrishna's passing away, according to traditions, Holy Mother started taking off her bangles and removing the signs that she was once married. Then Sri Ramakrishna appeared before her and said, "What is this? Where have I gone? I have only gone from one room to the other room." This is the correct translation of what he said in Bengali. I have just gone from one room to the other. Where have I gone? I have not gone anywhere. I am here. I am here with you. You step out of your room, you will see me over there, that's all. And indeed, for her, Sri Ramakrishna was always present. See, when she would make the offerings after the puja worship, during the worship rather, she would make the offerings to Sri Ramakrishna. She would sit and meditate, and at times when she had other things to do, or when people were waiting for the prasad, she would say to Sri Ramakrishna, yes, she would whisper to Sri Ramakrishna, eat fast, devotees are waiting. Because she saw that really that Sri Ramakrishna is there. It's not that it is her mental makeup, but it is something which she could feel. That is it. Once the self is there, the divine is there, one should just experience it. For her, Sri Ramakrishna was a living being, living personality, and therefore she was forbidden by taking all her symbols of a married woman. So the divine is there. Yaha pashyati tatha atmanam akartaram sapashyati. That one will then feel that all the works are being done by the divine alone, and the actionless, I am the witness, I do not do anything at all. Oh God, you are the one who is talking, you are the one who is listening, you are the one who is making everything work as it should. That attitude must dawn within us. This is difficult, but that attitude must come to us. Ultimately, everything is Ishwarecha, that is, everything is the will of the divine. If something good happens, that is also the will of the divine. If something bad happens, that also is the will of the divine. We need to cultivate this. Until and unless we cultivate it, we start this process as a sadhana, as a spiritual practice, we will not get over there. So we must start from wherever we are, we must start. And whenever we are faced with trials and tribulations, whenever we are faced with adverse situations and circumstances, just we should try to bring this concept that the divine is present with me and that divine is present in the person who is giving me the trouble also. And then slowly and slowly acceptance will come. First thing that comes to us is a sense of acceptance. Yes, indeed, ultimately the divine is in that person. Why should I unnecessarily hate and make myself more miserable? And slowly that hatred itself will vanish. It will not be there at all. So one will not even remember that one has been hurt. One does not even remember when this comes. Sri Ramakrishna used to give this example of a sadhu who was sitting on the bank of a river, and then he saw that from the top of a tree under which he was also sitting, from the top of a tree, a scorpion fell into the water, and the sadhu saw, and it was trying to come out of the water but was not able to come out, and therefore he went, took pity on it, and then brought it and left it on the firm ground. And then the scorpion climbed the tree again and again dived into the water. And again he went and lifted it and then brought it here. So this happened several times. And an onlooker looked at him and said, and called out to the sadhu and said, "Hey, you seem to be a fool. This scorpion is falling down, and then every time he tried to remove it, as is the nature of the scorpion, it would bite. And he would writhe in pain." So, and then this man said, "Every time you are lifting him out of the water and he is stinging at you." So the sadhu said, "Well, the nature of the scorpion is to sting, but my nature is to somehow save." That's why I am doing it. He sees because yah pashyati tatha atmanam pashyati. He sees his own self in the scorpion. So we shall stop here today and we will take up the next verse and conclude this chapter next week. Om Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasatrusham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogiradhyanagamyam Vande Vishram Bhavapayaharam Sarvalokaikanathan. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.